So now that I've got my code complete for the lion sprite, and the first thing I need to look at now is the cake sprite. Now, to get to it and to get to access the cake sprite, I need to make sure I click on it first. I'm not clicking on it up here, but clicking it down here to select the cake sprite. That means all the coding I see will be to do with the cake and not the lion. So don't panic, the lion's not vanished. He's still there, he's still coded, he'll still do things. But I've now just got my cake in focus at the moment. So the code here is nice and simple. It looks a bit complicated to begin with, but when we start pulling it apart, it's really quite easy. So we can see we've got green flag, which is the same event as for the lion. So when the green flag is clicked, the code becomes live. And then I've got a forever loop, which means that anything that happens after the green flag inside this loop will trigger if the conditions are met, because I've got an if loop. So I'll turn my code off and I can pull out my if then loop. Now this one's slightly more complicated than the last one. It's not just if then, it's if then else. So the conversation would go, if touching lion, then the cake will hide and then it will go to a random position. Otherwise, it'll be on show. Now, hide and show are appearance codes. They're from the looks block. And what will happen is hide means that the sprite vanishes. It's still there, but it vanishes. It just disappears. So when it touches the lion, so if the lion makes contact with the cake, or if the cake makes contact with the lion, the cake will vanish and it will go to a random position. So it will move somewhere else on the stage. It'll go to a random coordinate, and then we'll see what happens after that. If it's not touching the lion, it will show. So I've taken advantage of that a little bit here. So by moving to a random position, so say the cake touches the lion, the first thing it'll do is vanish, and then it will move to a random position. When it gets to its random position, if it's not showing the lion anymore, so this is no longer true, it will show. So it means it will appear again. If by bad luck, it disappears and then reappears here, it's still touching the lion, so it will stay hidden because that condition will stay true. So it will move again to a random place, and as soon as it's in a random place and it's not touching the line, it will open. So I'm taking advantage of the if-then loop. The cake will always be visible unless it is touching the lion. The moment it touches the lion, it will disappear. The sprite, again, will still always be there, but it will just not be visible on screen. Now, that code on its own wouldn't work if it was just attached to a green flag, because it would only be if the green flag was pressed and it was touching the line at the same time, which is why we've put it all inside a forever loop and it's nestled away there. So that is a decomposition of the code. There's things we can do with it, and we'll look a bit more at if-then loops and how we can improve this further.